playing for a Sunday team that was playing football matches in and around the area. And we played a couple of finals, and somebody said that the Crystal Palace scout, Peter Prentice, God rest his soul, was watching. And I didn't think nothing of it because I've been through all that before. This team want you to come and try and that. So I wasn't really bothered, to be honest. When I actually got my 2-week trial at Palace, the first time I heard it, I said, to be honest, I don't really want to do the football thing anymore because I've got a decent job. I was looking, Sean was just turning 3, Bradley was just born, and I had a good job. So it was just by luck. The guy I was working for said, yeah, just go and do it. You can't miss a chance like that.
And you've got it.
Rest is history.
So as they say, big guy. I think I was constantly trying to find my professional legs kind of thing. And so for that time I was training, because I'd just come straight from Sunday morning football to Palace. And so I'm not really used to the training and, you know, I was just getting into it. So about 20 minutes or so at the end of a game was about just for a full blast is what I had. But after a while, once you did come on and score a few goals, then the fans wanted you to play. You know, a couple of times I started and it wasn't quite well, and people like Jim Cannon would say I'm a 20-minute player. And, you know, because he was, you know, just a charming kind of guy he was, you know, always up in the youth team and the youngsters. Not having a go at Jim or anything, right? I don't really want to go down that road. But anyway, you know, but like he would say things like, yeah, he's a 20-minute player and that. And it used to get to you, but it was frustrating to come on as substitute because I'd do well and score and then I wouldn't play the next game. And it was really quite hard, you know. But it's great because I'm doing what I always wanted to do, playing football in front of people. Wright wanted to go to Brentford, which the chairman told me.
No, I think Brentford were in for me. Hull were in for me.
Yeah.
But when I met Steve Coppell at Watford Gap, I was at Leicester, and he pitched it at me that he said, I've got a young striker from non-league football, and he just said he's the most enthusiastic player I've ever worked with, but he needs some guidance, and I think you've got a bit more experience. And he said, if you come and join us, I really think you'll do well. And he said, if you do well, the press will pick up on your names because his name's Ian Wright. And I said, okay. So he said, come and watch us at Forest. So they were playing at Forest like that week in the Cup, and I went to watch them play, and Ian and Andy Gray played up front, and they played really well. And then when I spoke to him like later after the game, I said, well, where am I going to play? And he said, well, Andy, I'll play in midfield. And I was sort of thinking, well, if I leave Leicester to go to Palace, Andy and Ian just looked great together. I thought, I might not play there, and I'd rather be in the first division and not playing in the second. So it didn't take much convincing when I'd seen them play, because I liked the team, I liked the shape of it, and they were a young team.
Well, it was a great athletic team, man. Our team was
so they sort of like scraped the money together and bought me, and they just said, look, we haven't got a lot of money, but what he said, I want to get a lot of young, hungry players here. He said, if you do well, the chairman will reward you. And it was one of those things, sign now, and if you do well, hopefully you'll get paid well later. And it was just an opportunity. The opportunity I was really looking for, because I wanted to come to London as well.
It was an us and them, of course there was. It was a nightmare, you know, Brighty was all right. To be honest, I don't even just say because he's here, Brighty completely changed my whole outlook on the way footballers should carry himself and act and be and everything. But like when I came, like Jim Cannon and George Wood and Mickey Joy, and Mickey Joy was great. You know what I mean? He was hard and fair, but you know, like they used to like Brighty, but like Jim Cannon and that, and it was us and them. They were so always on at the young players, and it was just almost like you're scared to walk through the dining area and things like that, because that was the time when old pros, you couldn't even look them in the eye, could you really?
I came in the back of all that, didn't I?
You know what I mean? And it was really quite...
There was a couple of incidents which were like, weren't good.
It weren't nice, you know, and I think... And there's just some times where they, you know, Steve Coppell got kind of like dissed and disrespected a couple of times, which was quite embarrassing, but it was quite hard. There was a certain incident that happened one time, and, you know, Steve Coppell pulled me to one side and he said, you know, things are going to change next year. And that was about, I don't know, 86 and then 87. You know, because Brighty was already there, about 87, I think it was.
86 I came, didn't I?
86, and then he said things are going to change. And you know what I mean? You know, then he got rid of those guys and he brought in some younger players. And then everybody's, you know, the ambience and the camaraderie and the team, like, togetherness really started to build, and then we started to kick on.
What you have to do, you have to respect. Jimmy Cannon's like longest serving player, played loads of games. You have to respect because he's been a really good pro and everything. But there's a change of regime. Like the club needs to move forward, and to do that, the manager needs to change things. So you have to thank those people for their services and move them on and bring in the new. And everyone was around about the same age. Everyone was ambitious. Pemberton came, Jeff Thomas came, Gary O'Reilly came in. Yeah, Eddie McGoldrick came in, and Glenn Pennyford and people like that. David Madden ended up coming, and just the atmosphere and like you said, the togetherness, because there was no hierarchy. Because everyone was on the same level, so no one could talk down to anybody, or you didn't have to sort of wait for them to do something before you could do it. So that's where I felt that everyone was on the same level. It was
because like obviously they're coming to that time of their career, and we were young, hungry, and ready to go. And I think it was more they saw us a bit like brash and flash, and but it was just ambition, pure ambition, wanting to do well, wanting to do it. And I think they were just bitter at that stage of their career. Sooner the boss and the chairman got out, it showed. We just went, shoom, we just went.
Well, he was 29, I think, when he took the job. And the thing about Steve is, like everyone will tell you, you never really know him. You can get to know a lot of people, like the players you can read inside out, you know what they're going to say and do each day. But with Steve, he always kept you feeling that you slightly on edge.
Yeah.
That you can't sit down next to him and have you can have a joke with him, of course, but that you knew that he was the manager at certain times, and I think managers have to do that. Just stop playing and turns into a manager. It was difficult for him, because he said to me, I'm learning like you'll be learning when you come down here. But we said, hopefully we'll all get better at the same time.
And plus the fact that he had brains seeping out of every, what I mean? He's got so much brains, you sit down with him, and he can look at you in a certain way, and you feel like, Jesus,
You didn't have to say anything.
You didn't have to say anything. You just sit down, and then he's like, right, with his big voice and that. And you always feel he's a person to me that I'll always feel like I owe something.
Yeah,
and so much belief in us as a partnership and the team and what we could do in that. And it was easier to relate to a younger kind of manager. As my first manager, wouldn't make no difference to me, because Bright, you had Gordon Milne.
We can still remember him playing.
Who did you have? Gordon Milne,
Gordon Milne and
in that
John
older
McGrath.
manager and that. So for me, my first manager being Steve Coppell, being a young manager who I could go and talk to as well, it was good for me at a time when I needed to be able to speak to people, and because I was learning the game. Well,
didn't work straight away.
No, it didn't, because like the thing is, we used to train like Bright. What would happen is, funny thing, Brighty would always be on one team and I would always be on another team. And then when we'd finish training and that, Bright, like especially when it was muddy at Mitcham, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and like Bright would always say, look at the state of you. Look at your gear. Every time you shoot, you fall over. You're always falling over, and I didn't even notice it. I just love being in the mud anyway, just wallowing in the mud. And like then I started to realise. And then we train. Then when we train together, then we start training together. Then I know, if, for instance, I don't know, if I go down the left wing, and I'm right-footed, and I cut back, I know that Brighty will just automatically, he'll go to the far. You know what I mean? He'll go to the far, so I'll just hang it up. And for instance, he'll know as well. Like I know, for instance, if the ball's in the air, I will just set off, because I know he will flick it
on. Yeah.
So things like that you learn in training, and then
I think we were coming back on the coach one time. I think it was from Swindon away, and we'd missed out on the playoffs or something, and we looked, and we just said, we haven't scored enough goals.
Remember, I think I must have scored about 9 and you scored about 10 or something.
Yeah, we said, we haven't, I joined like November or something, and we said, we haven't scored enough goals, that's not good enough. Next year we're going to work on it. And Ian Evans was a coach, and he used to get us after training and work on me flicking at Ian, getting in behind, Ian, me stepping over it in Ian, loads of things. And then from Taft doing it, like Ian Bradford, and then like Stan Turnant, worked on us. And people always thought it clicked. It didn't click. We worked at it really hard. And then the team within a team.
That's when we started getting teased by Jeff Thomas and all that, because obviously once it started to go well and we're scoring the goals and we got to the first meeting and everything, I know I'm jumping the gun, but then they'd say, someone said at one time,
Pembo probably.
Yeah, the team within a team. And so the guy said, the team. If it wasn't for the team within the team, we don't know what we'd be doing. But it was never It was never like a bitter thing or a jealousy thing because they know that when we was under it, they know that we was up there and we was going to put it about. You know, it's like when we played against like the defenders and like the defenders, because once we started to get our names started to go out there a bit, when we'd kick off, so you kick off and you go down the other end, you'd meet up the defender and they'd say something like, hey, Wright, how's it going? And I would say, am I allowed to swear on there? And I'd say, hey, Wright, how's it going? I'd say, what are you talking to me for? If you want to talk to me, I'll talk to you in the bar. And then they'd go, what's up with him? And then they say to Biggin, what's up with him? And then Bright would say, off. We didn't come here to talk, we come here to
win. Speak to you after.
And then, so what happens is, so then instantly they're on their guard, and then the first challenge we'd get, one of us would try and smash into them or do something. So then they're edgy, and then when they start saying, "Hey referee," you know you've got them, you know. And so we used to always do that, and the guys would know that as long as they are keeping it clean, keeping the clean sheet, and we will go up there and we'll nick a goal.
Do you know what? That's probably my favourite game.
You know something? The Swindon game, then the Blackburn up there, and then obviously beating them. In the whole of my career, that is the best time. Easily, because it was
the first bit of success.
With Palace, it was
first
easily the best part of my career. It was awesome because Swindon
away. There was an incident what happened at the end of the game, and there was nearly a fight in the tunnel, wasn't there? I can't remember the guy's name, but
it weren't the defender, was it?
No, the midfielder Scouser.
Oh, Thompson or something, wasn't it?
Can't remember his name.
I remember the guy. He was one of those.
So Steve Coppell said, right, we play again Wednesday. Everybody, just keep calm. He said, and let's beat them, and then rub their noses in it, because he said something racially in the tunnel. So Ian was raging, sort of like kicked the door and everything, and then we come back at home. We were so geared up for it. The crowd turned up. It was a really warm,
It was the most we've ever
night.
played for. It was about 30,000. I don't know how many people there.
It was huge, and the place was just. We just knew. I think they beat us 1-0 away, hadn't they? And what we knew that 1-0 was never enough. We didn't really play well, and we got it home, and I think we both scored, didn't we?
Yeah, we beat them.
And we just beat them. But it was the atmosphere from the fans. That's when you thought.
You know what? When we was in the tunnel, Bright, you looked. They were scared.
Yeah.
They were scared because what happened was. To be honest, going into the Swindon game away, Bright, I didn't really get the importance of the game.
We just missed out, hadn't we?
Yeah, because
we were third, and we were a bit. I think we were a bit down.
We beat Birmingham at that time. We beat Birmingham like 4-1 or something, and then it all went flat because Man City won at Bradford. And so what happened was that guy. I think the incident from the guy at Swindon really just cranked us up, and then we realised. And then when we saw the amount of people that was at the home game, and then we beat them, and then when we played Blackburn up there, it was awesome because we went up there and we was losing 2-0, weren't we?
Yeah, and then we went.
Eddie scored.
Then they went 3-0.
No.
And Eddie scored.
No, Eddie scored. It was
2-1.
It was 2-0.
And then they scored again.
Yeah, Eddie scored, and like
we said yes.
Scored, yes. And then it was great celebrations because when I see it, Eddie runs around the back of the goal.
And everyone chases him.
And then our girl goes and scores. And so really, in the dressing room, there's a major argument in the dressing room, wasn't there, Bright? A big argument. You and then Steve Coppell kind of calmed it down and everything, and then we said, well, we got the game Wednesday, and we sorted it out.
On the way, we kind of thought we'd thrown it away, and on the coach on the way back, we said, no, that's not enough. That's not enough. They need more to come into our place. And we kind of talked ourselves around it. But I think Colin Hendry played quite well for them on the day.
Yeah, and that David Mell played well at the back.
Yeah,
and
the
him.
striker.
The little guy, Garner.
Yeah, Simon Garner. I think those three really wanted it, but the rest of them didn't play well. Because Steve Coppell said, I always remember him saying, we finished the third best team in the league, and if we are the third best team in the league, we'll get promotion. You know, we will get promotion because we're the third best team. You know, so you got to prove it again. But what happened to us at the end of that season, we went running. He said, I know those other teams, they won't be doing this. And we went running, went falling downs.
What the
so we said, we're running for it. We
for?
just played 46 games or something.
Me.
And we went running and pounded it out. And we were all together with it. Like Ian said, it's the most memorable part of your career. because Ian's gone on to win things, you know, and we've both gone on to playing cup finals. Well, obviously with Palace as well, but just in terms of the first success and having everyone together, the togetherness, the bond that you know that you need to win something with the players is unbelievable. You don't go out to dinner with each other every day, but the togetherness when you step over the white line, that's what Steve always used to say.
We had it, man.
Was unique.
There's a great squad of players we had at Palace. Our first home game was Man United with all the team.
Yeah.
Robson,
Yeah.
Hughes,
Yeah.
Ince, Palace, the flipping, all of them were there. You know what I mean?
It was 1-1, wasn't it?
It was 1-1.
And
They
we said,
scored.
well,
Brian Robson scored.
Yeah, we drew
And then
against Man
scored.
United.
But we played, you know what I mean? We played like, even when we lost 9-0, we just carried on playing like we thought we play. We just played.
It's a lesson, wasn't it?
I was crying. While I was playing, because we played one of the last great Liverpool teams.
Yeah, it was.
Because they always used to give somebody a good hiding in the season, and that was mainly, I think that was their last good, real drubbing of someone they
Do you know
gave.
what? That was the last time they won the championship.
Yeah.
That
and,
was.
And you know the thing about it is that it was such a lesson for us when they beat us. I mean, remember what Steve Coppell said at half time? He said to us, I tell you what, if you lot don't get hold of yourselves, what did he say? You're gonna get hammered. You're gonna get murdered. It's gonna be very embarrassing. And we didn't know.
We were all over the place.
What are you talking about? Because we were 3-0 down at half time. It's like
The signs were there for him, obviously.
You know, and they were just like.
It was an awesome team, but the display was terrible. But I mean, somebody bought me that video for Christmas for that season, and I sort of opened it up for a laugh and sort of like, and I put it in, and I looked at it, and everyone was trying.
No one weren't.
Everyone was trying, and that was the frightening thing. And at the end of the game, I mean, Coppell said, that'll never happen to you again in your professional careers. We come into the change room, and it was quiet. Because there was one stage, we brought the ball back to the middle,
I was crying.
And he went, how many's that? And because I don't think they had a scoreboard then, I just went, I don't know.
Can you imagine
I don't
that?
know.
I'd lost on the pitch.
But then there was a bit
crying.
of teasing going on as well, because was it Ronnie Whelan, I think, said to Jeff, do you lot train with the ball? And it was like, but it was, it really was. I mean, I remember just getting up. I mean, Perry
Steve McMahon, I think Steve
Suckling.
McMahon as well. They was having a laugh at our expense, you know.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare,
Perry
really.
Suckling,
Because after that,
it ruined him.
It finished Purse.
Ruined him.
Because after that, we brought Nigel, didn't we?
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. But the next day, I remember where I was living and everything, just kind of going out to get a paper, just to gauge and there's jokes in it and all this sort of things. And you
A video came out. They had a video in the shop like the next week. Liverpool's 9-0 hammering of Palace.
Hard. But they are very good. It was a very good team. We were poor, really poor, and we paid the price. But we played. I can't remember who played next, but we got a draw. I think it might have been Wimbledon.
It was a big game.
It was a big game for us.
Game.
And it was sort of like I felt personally like we'd won the lottery a little bit, gain a result. But the season turns. You know, we all know what happened. So
good.
But it was a lesson.
When we got to the semi-final, I just thought, because you know it's Palace against Liverpool. You know, they beat us 9-0 earlier on in the season. You know, we're in the semi-finals at Villa Park. We see this all the time on the television.
It was the first live games.
You know what I mean? 2 semi-finals live on the same day and all that kind of stuff. And I weren't playing. I thought I missed out on the biggest match of my life. And so I was on the bench, and it was like it was a fairy tale. We should have won that. We should have won the FA. It would have been the best ever. You know, but while I was watching it, Brighty, Jesus, I can't. It's the best game ever. Palace against Liverpool in the semi-final.
The first half was pretty dry. Well, it was 1-0 rush, I think, after 16 minutes. But then the second half, it just all happened.
But Brighty, they still went 3-1 up though. Barnsley scored to make it.
It went 1-0, 1-1. Pembo, straight from the kick-off, bomb down the right. There was a mix-up between two players. He carried on, crossed it. I think deflection, Solarco, then me, volleyed it in. 1-1, and then it went 2-1.
Then Barnsley got a penalty.
I think then that was the 3-1.
It went to 3-1, I'm sure it went to.
If I remember,
Steve McMahon scored, didn't he?
Steve equalised. Yeah. From that free kick when
2-2. Was we winning?
You were 2-1 up. Gary O'Reilly put you 2-1 up.
Set piece, yeah. Near post. I think Thorny flicked it.
Yeah. And then Barnsley scored, made it 3-2, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I thought that's it.
Yeah.
Because I thought I'm ready for Pemba when we go in, because he gave the penalty away. I thought I'm ready for Pemba. I'm going to give him some.
But have you seen the goal to make it 3-0 when Andy Gray? It's great. It's the great goal.
Ping
Because
pong.
so much things happen. But if you watch Andy Gray, he's constantly moving forward, then
Gets
bang.
drawn to the ball, doesn't he?
It's an awesome goal. It's just like brilliant. And then
The reaction's unbelievable.
It was, you know something, it was just like, so when I watch it now, they showed it on FA Cup Classics the other day.
Yeah.
And it just brings it all back. I just felt all funny and tingly and emotional. And then when Al scored,
Yeah.
and it's almost like, well, that is it. Bang, no more goals now. That is it. Remember when we was driving
Extra
back?
time.
We was driving back with Mitchell and Stuart Day.
Yeah. I can remember Coppell next time, he just goes, do you know what, this is yours. This is yours now. You can take it off them. They said, I'm telling you something now. They thought they'd won it. You've got the momentum going forward. Take it to them and all that sort of thing. And we thought, yeah, we've got it. And when Alan Pardew scored the goal, you think, we've done it. No, we haven't. No, there's a bit of time left. It's Liverpool. And they always come back. And then for the last few minutes, we're saying, ref, how long? 2 minutes. And he blew the whistle. And when he blew the whistle, I remember you come hobbling off the bench with the plaster on your foot and hugged up and that. And Andy come over and he said, we're going to play in the FA Cup final. And we ran across to the fans. And it was just, I don't care, there's nothing, you don't get close to that, I don't think. Your first FA Cup semi-final, because everyone thought we were going to get screwed. And I think the die-hard fans thought we could do it. The players really believed it, that's the main thing. But everyone else in the country tuned in to watch the first FA Cup semi-final live, 12 o'clock kickoff. Let's sit down, get a nice beer. Liverpool going to hammer, yeah. And I read in the paper like the next day, it said the best TV viewing since man stepped foot on the moon.
Yeah,
and that's when you realise, you thought, wow. I didn't realise it was that good. But I think it was just drama. We saw Phil Collins. We went to a concert, didn't we?
Yeah.
And he said he was watching in a departure lounge, and we were getting beat 3-1. And then he said he landed somewhere and seen we'd won 4-3 or something, and he just said he couldn't believe it. He said he just couldn't believe it. And he said when he ended up seeing the highlights, the goal, he said it was just a brilliant game.
Well, coming off of the back of what happened in the season, you know, if things for the story to end happily ever after, we should have beat Man United in the final, and our chance was on the
day.
You know, like I'm jumping forward a bit, but people talk about we tried to kick him in the second game. Nobody said anything about kicking him. You know, the thing is, it's just the great day when it Brighty. Remember, we used to talk about it all the time. We're talking about since Brighty got to the club. We used to talk about being in the first division. We used to be talking about just playing against the best players. And then you talk about playing against those teams and going to those grounds. Yeah. This was Wembley, Palace at Wembley. Yeah. In one of the last great finals where people were standing still, and Palace fans made a great day. The balloons.
That's what everyone remembers. Palace, and the semi and that, yeah.
And you know, and when you went out to walk, we had our suits and everything. Walked on the pitch, and you know what I mean. You go out.
It was everything you've ever seen and dreamt of.
It was happening, and it was really like surreal because I wasn't playing, you know what I mean? I was so disappointed. I worked so hard to get fit. And
it was a miracle you were fit. 2 broken legs in one season.
Not many people could have. I know. Not many people could have come back from that big one, but hey, it's history. It's not a problem now. But the fact is, right, is that, you know, we were actually living the dream. Yeah. Every time when we was driving,
sounds cheesy, but it's so true.
Yeah, when we was driving up, you know, the Wembley Way. It's the last time the coach could drive up there, and the fans. I mean,
banging on the coach.
This on the telly, but the boss wouldn't let the cameras come on the coach.
I know, that was the only thing.
It was one of the things which was really a nightmare because that's what you always
remember seeing.
And then you get there, and then you get to the place, and then you walk up the tunnel. This is the first time I've been to Wembley in this capacity because I said I'm never going to go to Wembley unless I'm going to play there, and so.
Changing rooms.
Yeah, the changing rooms. Oh my God, we're going to change. Look at the size of the bar. Yeah. And we're doing all that stuff. And then we walked up the tunnel onto the pitch. And the goals are just amazing, aren't they? These big Wembley goals with the massive stanchion that goes back.
Just looks so much bigger and everything.
And the nets are so stiff when you... I was thinking to myself, this happening or what? I can't believe this. I'm not even playing. You know, and then, you know, then we start the game and we go 1-0 up. Unbelievable. And then all of a sudden they start coming and they score. Brian Robson scored. And then,
they're a good team.
They were a good team.
Obviously our chances were lessened. Our chances were lessened in the semi because Ian didn't start. And then in the final as well, because Steve said, I'm not going to start with Ian because he's had 2 broken legs. I just want to give him a chance, you know, to recover. And I wanted him to start as well. I wanted him to start because it gives me a better opportunity and the team. But I understood why he didn't do it.
I thought it was the way we played, especially the semi-final, and we started coming off of the semi-final. The way we played, we were solid, man. We were a good team.
But the boss promised, didn't he?
Yeah, he promised that I'd get on.
Yeah.
And then we had to start the final like that. And I know that, you know what I mean, because it was the biggest game of my life, and I didn't think I was ever going to get a chance to play in that. But he said that, you know what I mean, he would, whatever happens, I'd play. So I'd get to play. But the team, the way he started the team, especially the semi-final and final, I couldn't argue with that. All I wanted was my time. But I trained, I warmed up as if I was playing.
Yeah.
I walked out onto the pitch with my kit off as if I was playing. I done all of it. And I remember when we was going out at Brighty, we went out and Brighty looked back at me like to say, this is it, boy. It was just like, and I said, God, because when you walk out and then the balloons and everything, and you think, Jesus Christ.
It's hard to take in. It's so
you can't
hard.
do it. It's thinking about
so
it now.
many people. It's so big. The balloons all going up. The roar. The Man United and Arsenal's and Liverpool's and that, they get used to playing in cup finals. All the fans, any of those teams who get there, like recently Southampton and Millwall, the fans savour it. Because you never know. I think it's
bad, Brighty, that it's at the Millennium Stadium because it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Because
it's a great stadium, but Wembley be ready in 2006.
I think Wembley, had Millwall played a Man United at Wembley, it makes you the underdog.
Yeah.
It brings you out. You know, because we were brilliant on the day. You know, then we scored, then they scored, then they scored, and we scored. We went 3-2 up with 7 minutes. You know, it's really hard to take because that is the greatest. That would have been the best, easily the best moment of my career.
Because you've got to remember, there's so much football on TV now, but in the old days, there only used to be like 2 live games or 3 live games. The World Cup final. It's some of the England games, but the only games I can remember the World Cup final and the FA Cup.
FA Cup, yeah.
And the FA Cup was just like the biggest thing to me because you see every year, the World Cup's every 4, the European Championships in between. And it's just thought, I'm playing in this. Yeah. Everyone who's ever met me or bumped into you, met you from school, write to you, wish you luck, telegrams when you get there.
Oh, the telegrams when you get there.
And you know, and the manager said, right, get all that out of the way and just, you know, go out and soak it all up, then come back in and get ready. You know, because you've got a massive advantage if you've played in a cup final before, massive, because you know what goes on. But it was all new to us. Pictures, interviews on the pitch, doing all that. You know, your routine's out because you're so excited, and it's hard. I mean, we hardly slept the night before.
Yeah, we didn't. I didn't sleep.
It was just one of those things. When Ian came on, we looked at each other and said, "Come on," and the ball went pump. I went touch. Ian went touch inside Pallister or Bruce inside slot. And I just thought, I thought my heart and that was going to explode or something. It was I've never ever. I played after that and scored in the finals and that. I cannot ever get back how I felt when I scored that one against Palace. It was just amazing. I couldn't believe it. And then we went, so we're 2-2. There was a mass pile-up, wasn't there, on the halfway? Everyone chased after you. Because I mean, I was devastated myself that I never scored in the final. On the day, if we'd have won, I think it would have sort of like balanced itself out. But because I didn't play well and I never scored, I was disappointed. But when he came on and scored, I was just so happy for him because of 2 broken legs. He never thought he was going to play. And just to come on, and with his first touch to score, I had to sort of, is it in or isn't it? And it is in. And everyone chased after him and mobbed him. And then to score again, when that cross come in, that was then confusing because I thought, we're going to win
this. And you know what?
We're going to win this.
The thing about it is, Bright, it's just really weird because I remember like the ball came. So Nigel kicked the ball out. There was something happened between Richard Shaw and Brian McClair. But he kind of got it through to Brighty. Brighty flicked it. And it seemed to go in slow motion.
Yeah.
It's the same with when John, from me, just seemed like, so I'm in normal speed, but it was all slow motion. Gary Pallister seemed to come across really slow.
I was in the post.
You know what I mean? Brighty came across. And then it seemed like Jim Leighton was like coming out slow. But I was like, it just seemed weird. And like even when the second goal, John Solako, he got the ball. He ran down with Mike Phelan or whoever it was. Then he cut back. And then he crossed it and he fell over. It seemed like I could see it all happening. The ball's coming over really slow. And then it's like Brucey's and Leighton, something happens. And I just see the ball is just there. And I was just thinking, what is going on here? you know, and then bang, and then it's like the ball goes in, then it goes, then you hear, wah, and it's like wakes you up. It's like watching somebody doing a film and it's gone in slow motion with no sound, just the heartbeat. It actually happened like that. It was amazing.
Really strange.
And then for Gary, so now I have to blame, you have to blame someone because it's like
Gary, if you're watching.
So Gary and Nigel Martin,
And
you know, he's
Nigel.
up there in goal for Everton now, cost me and Brighty, all the team, and Palace fans 7 minutes. How can like Danny Wallace got the ball and then how can Gary O'Reilly let Mark Hughes get away from him like that? And where was Nigel Martin going? You know?
It's a team game. We win and lose together.
No, Brighty,
it's true.
Nigel and Gary's fault.
That broke my
And I want
heart.
the fans to make sure, to tell them, because that would have been our
Don't
greatest
edit this
time.
bit out.
No,
Don't
don't
edit it
edit
out.
this bit out. Make sure it stays in so that Gary and Nigel know they cost us. You know, it would have been my greatest moment, my crowning glory.
We had a good party after that night.
Yeah, but
it was on a high. It was on a high in because we all said, "God, you know what? We've got nothing to fear. We've got nothing.
We're going to beat them.
That was our chance. We didn't realise that was our chance.
We didn't realise, but I know that now,
Yeah,
what I know now, I know that Man United would have went back and they said, listen, boys,
They can't play like that again.
We got off with it there. You know what I mean? And we're going to make sure. They were really more
Skip the second
professional.
game.
Bang, very professional, nothing. Didn't get a sniff.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what the best thing about this is that Leeds finished fourth when we finished third. Now, we obviously better than Leeds. All they bought Tony DeRigo and Rod Wallace. They won the championship the next year. So what does that say to you?
unbelievable.
How close we were to winning the championship. We could have done
We
it.
finished a good third as well.
It was a comfortable
Very good
third.
third.
Comfortable third. You know, and
Chris Waddle
it's
used to
quite
say to me
frustrating.
about that. Apart from me spelling Marseille, I say, I've done whatever you've done. He's finished third with Spurs, I think. I said, we finished third at Palace. No, I said, I'm telling you.
We finished third.
I mean, won the Zenith data and all that sort of thing. And I said, but we finished third. You've got to go the distance. I bought this, I bought that. I said, but that's still finishing
Still
third.
finishing third.
For
You
Palace,
finished
it's a bigger achievement than it is for Spurs.
Absolutely.
It's crying out loud. It's like, to me, it's like Andy Johnson now.
Teams didn't want to
Being
play
up
us.
there in the goal
goal
scoring.
scoring.
Yeah, Charles, at Palace, where they've been struggling all season. They don't create as many chances, and it's a phenomenon. It really is.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, like with myself and Bright, like I had the kind of like if Brighty was going to be there, I was going to be there. Now, if we had European football challenging,
That would
then
always
we've got no
keep you, yeah.
reason to leave.
Yeah.
Of course, the Arsenals and these of this world,
The
and
big five.
they're gonna
Yeah.
start sniffing around in the top because you know what I mean. But if we was in that, and then we had brought other players in, no reason to leave.
Yeah.
There was no reason to leave because when I was gonna leave, the chairman offered me double the money I was on to stay. But you know what I mean? The fact of the matter was...
He did?
Did I tell you that, Brighty?
No.
Well, we'd sort it out. We'd sort it out. But, well, he didn't. But he did.
Okay.
But anyway, the thing about it is, right?
Sure.
that son of a bitch. One of the saddest things for me is when I did go to Arsenal and then, you know what I mean, I got some stick. Couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Because I was getting stick. I said, the first
That
time...
was strange. That was really strange.
I was playing against the first time was the first time I came back and we did beat them. We scored a great goal to beat them. I scored. We made a great move. Boom, 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 boom. We scored. And before that, the Palace fans were kind of booing me and they made up songs about me and that. And I thought, well, you then. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just play my heart out now because what I had left in respect of my love and it was such an ache. It was hard to play against Palace for me. And then when they started being like that, it just switched off. I just switched off and said, well, if you're gonna be like that, that's it. I'm gonna do it for the Arsenal fans.
Your mum and everything, didn't
Yeah, they was slaughtering me. Yeah, slaughtering my mum, and they was writing things on my walls and that, and outside my mum's house. But like the thing about it is just, I thought to myself, well, leave it. And then we played down at Arsenal, and they done it again. And that is when I think I made the biggest mistake of my career in respect to what I've done. I kissed the badge. And you know what I mean? With a lot of Arsenal, with a lot of Palace fans, it didn't go down well, as you can imagine. But it was just purely out of, I didn't know any other way to spite them back for what they were doing. Because I didn't think that any player, it's like Alan Shearer, Blackburn. Blackburn fans slaughter him. You know what I'm saying to myself? I don't think that any player could do any more for a club than I did for Palace,
football,
what I was trying to do. Yeah, but Brighty, it's Palace. It's my first club. It meant so much to me. You know what I mean?
You understand it though. I understand it. It's their club and it's their team, but players move around, you know. So, but I mean, I've always been treated well when I've gone back, and I don't know the difference. Because when Ian came back one time and I had the songs and all that, I was annoyed. You know, and thinking this guy's given everything to the club, and so I remember saying something in the press, but
I never was it. I never ever said I wanted to leave.
Yeah, turn it back to when he left. It devastated the team. It devastated the team. He phoned me, didn't he? He phoned me, just said, I was lying on the sofa one afternoon. He said, "Figured, are you there?" "Yeah. I've just signed for Arsenal." And he didn't say he was going to. He just said, "I've signed for Arsenal." I said, "You have?" He said, "Yeah." I said, Pfft. And he just like...
It was really weird, right?
It was really weird. And I said, you know what? You're making the right decision. It's a great club. It's a big club.
We used to talk about it all the time about big
England
clubs.
career, it'll help everything.
But the thing about it is, bro, I came to training like normal on the Monday. We played Oldham on the Saturday away from home.
Yeah.
In our Brazil kits.
Yeah, it was a brilliant game.
A great Brazil kit. I was looking forward to playing in that. It was either Oldham or Villa.
It was Oldham's your last game.
Yeah. And you know what I mean? I scored and everything.
Salaki
scored, and I was thinking brilliant. And then I came to train on Monday like normal. And Steve Coppell just said, you got to go and speak to Arsenal today. I said, what? Yeah, look, chairman's accepted a bid. We've accepted a bid for you. I thought, jeez. And the thing about it is, it was like really weird because what did I say? I think I said to somebody, Mr. Dean tells a story. I was meant to sign, but I said, I can't come yet because I've got to go and buy a television. I had to go and buy this television, right, for my mum or something. So I said, yeah, I'm going to come, but I'm just going to stop off because I've got to buy a television. Because I didn't know about this 5 o'clock deadline you have to sign by. So I went to Dixon's or somewhere to buy my mum a television. And then thinking, so Arsenal were going mad, where is he?
Medical.
And this and that, so I had to go and have the medical. They were rushing the medical through. And then when I got to the medical, I didn't realise, because I just about messing about being stupid. This is all new to me. Every time the doctor touched me, I was going, oh, watch out there. I've got this. And when he was doing my ankle, as soon as he touched me, I went, watch out for that. I got a real bad kick the other. And he was going, is it? And I said, yeah, fine. And then he touched me there, and I go, oh, that started again. But so they done all the x-rays and that. It was quite a good laugh, but I didn't realise how serious it was, because then they got another doctor in and he said, I said, no, I'm only messing about. And I was thinking, you're messing about? You're Arsenal's highest player they've ever paid for. You're messing around. I said, I can't take it seriously. You know what I mean? It was all happening so quickly, and I just, before I knew it, I phoned Bright. I said, Bright, I just signed for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Ron Knowles ain't racist. He's not more racist than I am. You know what I mean? Towards my own people.
Bad.
It's terrible.
He came out to Sweden, didn't he? We were on pre-season tour.
Terrible.
And we'd seen the cut of it before it went out on air, and sort of like the way it was edited was like, but we didn't understand how these things are done. We just thought that was it. That's what he said.
Anyone who knows him, straight talking, tell you exactly how it is. He is not. That man is not racist. No way. Nothing. It's, you know what, and the way it happened, the way they manipulated in the press and everything, just for the stories, it's terrible.
Yeah, it was
a lesson.
It was a lesson on how to make a TV programme, because we found out, because Steve said to him, I think Mark Bright's a bit unhappy, and he flew out, he left his holiday and flew out to Sweden. He phoned first and he just goes, Mark, Chairman. I said, right, Mr. Chairman, what is it? I said, what is it? Don't speak like that, what is it? Have you seen this? Have you seen what you've said and all that sort of thing? So he just put the phone down and flew out to Sweden. He came out, and I think Steve said you should just tread easy with him at the moment, because who was it? Me, you, Gary Thompson, Richard Shaw, John Slarko, Alex Dyer,
Andy,
Eric Young, Youngie. There was like 7, 8 black players in the team, and he phoned the production company, get me a transcript.
Manuscript, yeah.
And what they'd done is obviously, brought it with him and just said that this is the sentence. Just in chop, take that out, put that in. It was all done like that, and it kind of smoothed itself out a little bit, but it made a lot of press. And Naval had to wear, she wore a t-shirt and everything. It was unsafe, and at that stage, it seemed like it rocked the boat, and it did a little bit. And Arsenal came in
around that time
and nipped in and got Ian at that time.
And then they started to say I left because of that. I never ever said I want to leave Crystal Palace. Never ever said that. You know, I came in on the Monday. Things must have been obviously happening.
You didn't say no, did you?
Well, I didn't say no because it was an opportunity, wasn't it?
Of course
Talking
it was.
about going to the champions at the time.
Yeah.
You know, when I went there, people were saying I won't even get into the team. Now, if I never went on to do what I'd done at Arsenal, I would have been disappointed to leave Crystal Palace. But what I'd done at Arsenal, the Palace fans can say, well, at least he'd done that.
Yeah.
Because if I went there and, you know, just became a bit part player, and, you know what I mean, I could have stayed at Crystal Palace and maybe made Palace go on to do great, like they should be. You know, then, you know what I mean, I would be disappointed. But I think I went on to make them see that, you know what I mean, I've done my best for them and I've done my best for anyone I played for. Well, to be honest, if you could, like, there's not a lot of stuff that I would say that I would do again.
Look.
Like I would, there's not a lot of things that I would say that if I went back in time, I would change. That is one I would. Now, I've done a lot of things. I've smashed referees' rooms up.
Yep.
I've called people. I've done the finger signs. I've, you know, all sorts of stuff. I would not take that back. Only thing I would take back is kissing Arsenal's badge in front of the Palace fans. But at the time, you know what I mean, I was just like, devil may care, they're being horrible, I'm going to do something that I know will upset them. And, you know, I only can apologise unreservedly to the Palace fans for that. I'm sorry.
I went on to Sheffield Wednesday and I played in the Cup final Sheffield Wednesday and the League Cup final as well. But it's hard to explain to someone. Port Vale was my first club. I went to Leicester, but then when I went to Palace, I felt I developed and I made my name at Crystal Palace. Most people think I'm a Londoner because of Crystal Palace. So the club's always got a special place for me, and it always will have. You know, because I consider I probably played my best football at Palace. Even though I went on, I knew a lot when I went to Sheffield Wednesday, and I really enjoyed my time there. And I was treated really well. But Palace for me, it's sort of it's the first score. It's the first result I look for.
It was my home.
Yeah.
Palace, they gave me the chance. The fans were great from the start, and you know what I mean. To be part of Palace's history, and you know, me and Wright, a good part of Palace's history. When people look back at it, is something that, you know what I mean. There's nothing I've done in any other club that can make me as proud as playing for Palace. And that's why it would have been so important for us to win the cup final, because it would have been my greatest moment. Because Crystal Palace, my mum still supports them, loves Palace, and I will always, always love Palace. It means the world to me.